Welcome to Healed, Whole, Called, the podcast where stories of trauma meet the healing power of Jesus. Each week, we journey with women who have walked through pain, wrestled through the process, and now stand in the promise of who God called them to be. This is more than storytelling. This is sacred space, where honesty is welcome, healing is possible, and hope is alive. And now, here's your host, Wendy Melrose.
Today, I am honored to welcome Roberta Crisler, author of My Story of Hope: Life After Serious Brain Injury. In 1985, at the age of 24, Roberta survived a devastating car accident that left her with severe brain injury and lasting challenges on her left side. Against all odds and defying the expectations of doctors, Roberta fought her way back to an active, meaningful life. Her story is one of a profound faith, resilience, and determination. She went on to raise her children, cycle tens of thousands of miles for charity, and embrace each setback with an opportunity to grow. In her book, she candidly shares that she's not only a medical she candidly shares not only the medical journey, but also the emotional and spiritual journey of rediscovering herself, learning to accept her new normal, and finding joy again. Roberta's testimony is a beautiful reminder that no matter how big the obstacles or how long the road is, healing and hope are possible with the courage and God's grace. Hello, Roberta.
Hi there. How you doing?
So obviously I went into a brief summary of the book, but you're welcome to share like at the beginning, like what was, you know, I know that you said that it even started before the accident, because you and I have known each other personally for a while. Um, what was the season or moment where the hardship, like God started walking you through, or when you started to realize God was going to be with you no matter what?
Okay, so when I was a junior in high school, I went to before school started, I went to a lake and I got on a boat and we capsized the boat and it went over because it was really hot. And I swallowed some water or I got bit by a mosquito, but that night I started to get really sick.
Mm.
Within a week, I was not doing anything, and I was sick in bed, and school was going to be starting. And my mom came in the room and she took my temperature and she said, "You're burning up." She called the hospital, and the doctor said, "Bring her in and we'll take care of her." It turned out that over time, they learned that I had spinal meningitis.
Wow.
My temperature was up to like 107, and I was on antibiotics. I was hooked up to all sorts of machines, and I became good friends with the doctor who brought me through that. However, 7 years later, after I had been to college, I had a motor vehicle accident and um, had a traumatic brain injury and a crushed ankle. Um, I guess the turning point for me, what really broke me was when the doctor came in and said to my whole family, "You have a tough road to hoe. You have lost your cognitive thinking, you have lost muscle control, you have lost nerve control." And I was like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do?" I was like, I felt like I was being punished for something. It was not very fun at all. And to hear the doctor say that he didn't really expect me to pull through it and do much was like really not fun at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I was in a coma for about a month. I was hooked up to all sorts of machines and I was living on life support actually until they decided to, um, my mom said, let's just try it and see if she can get through. I don't know. Well, before that, I started moving my one of my sides of my body. And my mom noticed that I was moving, and I was like, well, let's just give you a little bit longer. And my brain was so tired and so bruised that I had nothing else to do but to just lay there. And when my mom first heard me say, Mom, she broke her heart. And it was like, she said, did you just say, Mom? What's your name? And I'm saying, Robbie. And so I was really confused and it was hard to do that. Um, and then, so I wake up from a coma. I'm in physical therapy for at least 4 or 5 months. I had to basically relearn how to do everything
Mm.
from walking, talking, swallowing. I still have problems swallowing, and I'm a lot older now. Um, you know, I had run before my car accident. I had run 21 miles on the Chicago lakefront, and I was told I would never run again. That broke my heart. So
So
it's like,
I would love to know. So anyone that maybe have a loved one that is currently in the position where you were, and they want to have hope for their loved one that's laying there, you could hear, even if you might not have been able to respond at the beginning, you could hear everything everybody said.
I could.
So
I could
that's
hear
something
them.
that I think we forget is that, when our loved ones are laying there in comas, the hearing is still active.
Right.
And what was obviously that turning point when you said your mom's name? She didn't want to give up on your recovery, and it was your mom being an advocate for you as to why you're standing here today.
Right.
And
Right. Um, another another thing that was really important to me was when I had I think I was just tired from the day, and because I was in a cat I don't know if it was Catholic or whatever faith it was, but I was in Mary and Joy Rehabilitation Center in Wheaton, Illinois,
mhm.
and they are connected with the Franciscan sisters. And I had one of the Franciscan sisters would make a daily routine, and she'd come by my room and she asked me how I was doing. And I remember asking her, why did this happen? I was 23. I was really fit. I had just traveled. Got my degree in social work, and I was ready to change. I was ready to be an advocate for all those kids that are going down the wrong way. And she told me, why not?
Mm.
So I learned at that point, with everything that has happened to me, I smile because it's like, why not? I can do it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Um, the therapist, when they realized that I could no longer run because of all the connections I had lost with my body, they recommended riding a bike. And so riding a bike to me became my getaway from everything. And I was like, I'm ready. However, I had to relearn how to balance myself on a bike,
Wow. How long did it take for you to relearn?
which was not easy.
Yeah.
Um,
How long did it take for you to relearn how to ride your bike again?
I was out in California, and I would say I got married, and my husband had borrowed a neighbor's bike because it was for me to get on, and we were like uh 6 or 7 year old. I felt like I had regressed to being 6 or 7, and it was just like I fell a lot, and he would come and get me, and I would get back on it. I kept trying. It's like, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. Um, and it was just amazing how once you learn how to do something, you never forget. You never forget how to do it.
So let's you mentioned your husband. Did you know him before your accident?
I had met him at my job because I was a I guess I was an intake worker for Big Brothers Big Sisters,
Uh-huh.
and he was a big brother, or he was I was interviewing to become a potential big brother. I had to go
Hmm.
to it. The interview was 3 or 4 hours longer than it should have been. And I was like, I connected with this guy. And so we had met maybe a couple months before then.
Mm.
But then he had to accept the fact that he had heard that I was in a car accident.
Wow.
And so he introduced himself to my family, and he was there as much as he could be.
Wow. So let's go back to when you started biking, because I know it talks about in your book about how you have ridden a lot of miles. So that was obviously a big part of your journey. So how many miles have you ridden on your bike?
I didn't keep track before this, but from the time I was released from rehab to publish the book, I had 39,000 miles.
That's amazing. So is that all over the United States or is that mostly on the East Coast?
Um, no, that was all over the United States.
Which is your favorite place to ride your bike so far?
My favorite place to ride a bike was probably Boise, Idaho.
Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Why? What made that so different?
It was flat. There was no traffic. I love the area, and I had a support system that was really good.
Ah, that's so cool. Did anything surprise you about the way God moved in your life since the accident?
Um, no, but he has continually given me the strength to know that if he is in me, I can do it.
Yes. Oh, that's so amazing. And so all the listeners here, like if you've got a loved one or if you've been through something like Roberta's been through, just remember that what Christ lives in each of us and that we have his strength. His strength is sufficient. And in that we can use like we can give what we can give and he fills in the rest. He fills in the
Yeah.
gap. So like, if we can only give 5%, he will supply the 95. And so tell us where you are today and how God is using your story. Obviously, even with a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, you were successful at writing your book. Now that's quite an accomplishment. So, how did that make you feel when you finished that?
Um, I was like really excited that I could finally get it out,
Yeah.
and people were interested in reading my story. A couple of them said, "Wow, you were a trooper," and it's like, okay, I'll take that as a compliment. um, and you know it. I don't think I did it just to encourage people never to give up on themselves.
Oh, that's good.
Doctors don't know what you can do. Doctors are following a specific protocol, and that protocol is everyone. They don't focus on one person, they focus on everyone in their training and whatever. So it's easy to just not focus on the person, but then you have to say, I'm not like everyone else. I'm
Right.
different.
Right. Well,
You
we're all
can't,
different.
you're right, we are all different.
That's amazing.
And so even when I see doctors now, it's like, I'll tell them, I'm not normal. I'm different. You cannot think in the box with me. You've got to think out of the box because I'm unique. I'm made differently and I'm a survivor. And don't take that for granted.
Oh, that's so amazing. So, what would you, if you could have a word of encouragement or a prayer over someone listening who might be in a similar space or their loved one is, what would you say?
I would say never give up. You got to keep trying and know that you can do it. Even if you don't succeed the first time, keep trying over and over again.
That is so amazing. Well, I know, Robbie, that, I'm grateful that we're friends. I know we've known each other for about a year now online. And can't even remember how we even got connected, but God connected us on purpose. And it's been a real joy following you, your journey. And I'm very grateful that you shared your heart with us today. So I appreciate it so much.
Okay, thank you.
So, to our listeners, remember your story is not over. You are not disqualified by what you've been through. With Jesus Christ, you are healed, whole, and called. And remember to subscribe to this channel for the next episodes to be alert. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, bye.
Thank you for joining us on Healed, Whole, Called. If this episode spoke to your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe and share it with someone who needs to know that healing is possible, purpose is real, and God is still restoring. And before you go, visit resilience-press.com and download your free copy of Get to the Point of Self-Publishing, Wendy's guide to help you move from stuck to published with clarity and confidence. You'll find it in the free resources section. Until next time, stay rooted in truth, covered in grace, and always moving toward the promise.